I mean, I could be raped.
You could be raped, but it might not be by a girl.
No, then I wouldn't be passed out.
No.
Because I knew when to stop. Yes, I did.
I don't even know if I'm in the fucking shot now.
She just looked at
That
me.
was good.
Looking at me like a crazy person.
Alright, pretty much any time. You want me to start over
Yeah,
you?
but I got the draft part.
Alright, hello YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Pretty much, we're just gonna go back over some stuff. I'm gonna go through some Masters as well as I can and Cody can.
And then I'm going to finally get my draft out there.
And then we'll get his draft, and we'll probably do a little bit of talking about the end of the NBA season and then the playoffs coming up. So to start it off, I'm going to go a little bit over the Masters. Pretty much the first thing I want to key on is the first day of the first hole. Ernie Els did something that at least the announcer said never happened. He 9-stroked the first hole, which was a par 4. He got it on the green in 3 strokes. But 4 through 9, he was 2 feet away from the hole and pretty much got into that situation where, all right, I need to do it this time and this time. It kind of just seemed like he was just trying to force it so he didn't have to be there anymore. So that, I feel bad for him.
And thanks, Derek, Matt, and Brian, by the way. Like I said, I get stuck at work during the day, and then I don't even feel like I can do anything but look at the leaderboards. And I saw it on SportsCenter, that little snafu there. I've never seen anything like that from a pro golfer, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens. So pretty much through the last 2 days, you got Jordan Spieth at top at -4, McElroy right behind him at -3, and then you got Danny Lee and Scott Piercy 2 under, and then you got Matsuyama, Snedeker, and Keldson at 1 under. So that's pretty much your people that are under, and then the rest of the field is either even or over. So pretty much, and then today, you got today and tomorrow, I think, pretty much they're the last 2 days,
I don't know why
right?
I feel like McElroy's just going to somehow get a jump here and take the lead and win it, but that's just a feeling. He just seems really confident in the interviews I've seen. Obviously, he's got the talent. Be interesting to see what the weather does. I haven't looked at the forecast. Have you?
No.
As far as
right
you guys
now,
probably know, but
right now it's saying it's sunny at that place, pretty much.
I know wind was a factor the first day or two.
Pretty much 16-mile-an-hour wind is what they're saying, pretty much right there.
Yeah, still kind of windy then.
Yeah, still kind of windy. Wow, I can't even talk. But pretty much
Snedeker's what? He's
tied for 5th.
Okay.
Under.
And then a lot of these names I don't even recognize, but I think, like I said, the cream rises to the top.
Yep.
Speed's gonna stick around too. He's playing well.
Start today. Some of them already started.
I was gonna say there should have been a morning tee off and then afternoon.
Started. The big surprise I think is Bubba Watson. He's down at tied with 56 at 9 over. That's crazy.
That's quite a hole.
So pretty much it's
Justin
already started
Rose
today.
Is +2.
Love the Third is +2.
You ever find Mickelson?
No,
I didn't either. I don't know.
Jason Day's 1 over, so
he tees off at 130.
Yeah, and then the top tier is pretty much after 2, from
They'll be
230 to
250,
250 is pretty much the last tee offs. So pretty much that, and still we'd still like conversation from the people we've named, just because.
And then if we have it, just jump in anyway. You got any of you jump in. Tony, if you see this.
Yep.
Great question yesterday. We'll discuss that a little bit later too.
Yeah. But pretty much that's it. We'd like a little bit of help because both of us, the way we work,
our
we don't
hours
have
are
much
just
time.
crazy, and
So
I know some of you do too, but You're better at following golf
Yeah.
than us. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I'll admit it too.
I can't play golf either. I haven't touched a club since I was 15. So.
But pretty much that's it, and then probably beginning of next week we'll probably go after the finish and see what that is. But Cody's going to take over and go over his draft, his mock draft.
Also, before I get into that, so I won't forget, I posted about it, but the Pirates, I believe, are the only undefeated team in the NL. I could be wrong. I know the Cubs were, and they lost. I didn't see some of the later scores, but Pirates are 4-0. I had given up on them last night because they were down 5-1.
Yeah.
And Marte hit a grand slam. I actually walked away to get a drink and went upstairs, and then I heard my phone go off and looked, and there was a grand slam. That was his first career grand slam, by the way, for Marte.
Good time.
And he blasted it. It was basically a hang breaking ball and took a yard. They play today at 110 or somewhere around there, and Garrett Cole is making his first start of the day. A lot of you baseball guys know, but he's basically the Pirates, what they hope to be an ace sooner rather than later. Forget who he's going up against, but the kid was like 5-9 or something last year.
He's going against Iglesias.
So I'm hoping that Cole can get the win today and keep my Pirates undefeated. The Reds are still doing well. The Cubs are doing well. They lost, darn it, who'd they lose? Lost somebody for the year, one of their better players, tore his ACL and LCL, I believe. He's done for the year. Maybe when I'm talking, you can look that up. But that just happened.
For the Cubs?
Yeah, it just happened. One of their better players. Darn it. Josh will do that real quick, but it just
Justin
happened.
Groom first? No.
Anyway, he'll look that up for me. I'm drawing blank on the name, but it's a huge loss for the Cubs. Gonna hurt him a good bit. While you're looking that up, I'm just gonna get into this.
You go for it.
Finally gonna get to my mock. Sorry guys, it was just too long to put with the other video.
All right, great. It was Kyle Schwarber.
That's right.
Yep.
I just couldn't think of it. He's done for the year anyway.
Definitely a last name.
Yeah.
Pretty much Baltimore's undefeated still, and Detroit.
I think Baltimore got beat last night.
Oh, that's today. That's 7-5.
Okay. I thought they lost last night, but I must.
And then Detroit's 3-0, and they're against the Yankees.
And the Pirates, like I said, are undefeated, and the Reds they have one loss now.
Yeah. So.
And that's in Cincy.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, just gonna do the first round because I talk a lot when it comes to football, and it'll be an hour long video if I went farther. Won't say a lot. I just want to give you a little bit of a blurb of info for each one that I think is important. Tennessee, picking first, I haven't taken Jalen Ramsey from Florida State, safety or defensive back, depending where you project him. I think he's the best player at a position of need for them. Tennessee has a lot of needs, obviously, but they just drafted their quarterback in Mariota, last year from Oregon. So obviously they could go offensive tackle. Could be Tunzel from Ole Miss. He could easily be a number one pick. Sorry about my phone going off. But I've kind of gone back and forth there. They're both worthy. Number 2 at Cleveland. I've got them taking Bosa. I know a lot of people think they're going to go QB, but that makes no sense to me.
None.
If you're going to bring RG3 in and the dude is healthy, I mean, maybe there's something we don't know and he's still not healthy, but after taking a year off, I'd say he should be healthy, and you could always take a dude later in the draft. Draft somebody later like Tom Brady, wink, wink, in the 6th round. You're not going to find another Tom Brady, but you could always get somebody who could come in and fill in if RG3 doesn't pan out in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I don't like the QBs in this draft anywhere, let alone 2 overall.
Yeah.
So take Bosa. He's obviously a freak of nature, a stud.
Hometown.
He played for the Buckeyes, and will sell jerseys like this. I mean, if you think Johnny Manziel was going to sell jerseys, which he did, but he busted, Bosa's going to sell that tenfold. All the Buckeye fans will buy one before the games even kick off, if they go Bosa. They could have had Sammy Watkins and Teddy Bridgewater in the same draft in 2014. Instead, they got Manziel and Gilbert, who were both bust. Gilbert's still there. Obviously, Manziel, who knows where he'll end up. We know their streak of wasting draft picks. So anyway, I would take Bosa if it was me. Third, you've got San Diego. That was surprisingly terrible at 4-12. I've got them taking Tunsil, which is a steal at 3, even from Ole Miss, because he can fill in right away, protect Rivers, who's been injured off and on throughout his career. Number 4, we have Dallas. Excuse me. They need a lot of things, but they would have been a lot better off with Romo if he was healthy. They would have easily won that division. So I have him taking Buckner from Oregon. He's a defensive end, defensive tackle. If Jerry wanted to, he could be stupid, I'll say that now, and waste draft picks and move up to snag Bosa because they do need a defensive end. But I think that'd be silly. You've got a good pick in Buckner there that any other draft would be the first defensive end off the board if Bosa wasn't available. So I would do that. Then we got Jacksonville at 5. Bortles and Chad Henne are there at quarterback, so you don't need a quarterback. I'm not a huge fan of either guy, but Bortles hadn't been there long, so let him keep taking his lumps and get better. Go ahead and take Miles Jack. He's a linebacker from UCLA, who I think without the knee injury would have been a top 3 pick, and they wouldn't have a chance to take him. So go ahead and take him. He could even start for him next year, depending if they feel he's ready after camp. The Ravens, I have taken Leonard Floyd from Georgia. Defensive end linebacker. He could kind of play a couple different positions as well. We have a lot of versatile guys on defense this year, especially on the defensive line. The reason I would go him there is because they really didn't have any pressure when Suggs went down. Suggs is a great player, as we know. So anybody you could draft with the talent that Leonard Floyd has is a great pick. Next, we have San Francisco. Kaepernick's kind of in a really bad situation because I know Denver's kind of tried to get him, but the money's not working out after Manning left. Blaine Gabbert's god-awful, but he'll end up having to start if something still isn't working out with Kaepernick. So I would go Carson Wentz here from North Dakota State. He's 6'5", 240, kind of your prototypical quarterback. Ran the pro-style offense. Not overly fast, but he's mobile. Can get out of the pocket if he needs to. Like I said, not going to write a book on each pick right now because it'll take too long. So I would go Carson Wentz there. Otherwise, I wouldn't go Wentz or any other quarterback in this draft until about 15. Just not a huge fan of the quarterbacks in this draft. Next, we have Philly. It was originally Miami's pick, but we have a few trades that we had, and Philly is now in the 8th slot. They addressed offensive line and secondary in the offseason. Haven't really touched running back. They have Matthews, but if he goes down, they're really thin. So I've got him taking another Buckeye, Zeke Elliott. We all know what he can do. He can do a lot for you. I feel like he's really a game breaker and could go into the top 5 running backs right away if he gets a start. I think he's that good if he's used correctly. All right, I've kind of messed around with Tampa Bay's pick a lot, going back and forth. They really need defensive help, so I'm going to go Noah Spence here from Eastern Kentucky, defensive end. Without the issues off the field, he would be a top 5 pick easy enough. I've got a lot of guys I've seen dropping him, the so-called geniuses and pundits, dropping him to the 2nd round. But to me, he's too good to do that. So I've got Noah Spence at 9. 10, we have the Giants. I've got him taking Ronnie Stanley, tackle from Notre Dame. It's a need because they really need to protect Eli better. All right, next I have Reggie Ragland, inside linebacker from Alabama, 6'1", 250. I have him projecting a little higher than Mel Kiper. I just feel like he's a very good player. Obviously, Alabama's always got defensive players. Their line is always stout. So I've got Ragland there because they really need pass rushers at 11 in Chicago. 12, we have New Orleans. Josh is a Saints fan. He knows that they have a lot of issues on defense. I went secondary with Vernon Hargreaves from Florida. He's a defensive back. Vernon is a leaper. He also can explode off the line. He's quick, can get in his back pedal quickly. 5'10", which is pretty standard for NFL DBs. He's a good return possibility as well, on punts especially, because kickoffs have been pretty much taken out of the league.
Yeah.
Now that you're kicking everything out of the end zone, since they moved 5 yards. He's also got good hands, like I said, so he could get you some picks and take them to the house. Next, we have Miami from Philly in a trade. I've got him taking a Sean Robinson, defensive end tackle from Alabama. Best player available here, in my opinion. The top corners and OL are off the board. I'd have them going to Philly. He's skilled enough to go into the 7 to 10 range here. Oakland, I've taking Sheldon Rankins. They need a defensive tackle, and the top ones are off the board. Definitely. Yeah, anyway, I said that. So we have 2 Alabama players. 2 apart. Okay, never mind. Anyway, it'd be a huge upgrade for their defense. The reason I have Oakland taking a tackle is because Mario Edwards has had neck issues. Some think it may even shorten his career or end it early. So I went tackle there. Okay, we've got the LA Rams. Since they moved again, that's going to be hard for me to get used to. I've got them taking Jared Goff. A lot of people have him in the top 3. I just don't think Goff is a top 3 talent. So I got him coming from California there. Him and Wentz will probably go top 5. I just don't see it. 16, we have Detroit. And I have them taking Jack Conklin, offensive tackle or guard, depending where he plays, from Michigan State. Matt Stafford's always on his back. He needs extra help, so he's going there. Vernon Butler, defensive tackle. Louisiana Tech is next to Atlanta. Again, defensive tackle is the deepest and best position, talent-wise, in this draft. So I've got him going to Atlanta. Next, I have Jaron Reed, defensive end, defensive tackle from Alabama, going to Indy. Trying to speed up, or we'll have a half an hour here. All right, next I have Emmanuel O, I'll call him, because I can't pronounce his name ever. But he's out of Oklahoma State, so you'll know him from that. He's a defensive end and is a well-rounded pass rusher who can beat you on the outside, or he can overpower you. He's just a talented dude. 20, we have the Jets. I've got them going defensive end or outside linebacker. I've seen Kevin Dodd projected to even move to linebacker, so we have to wait and see there. He's worked on drills at linebacker. I'm not sure exactly how the Jets would use him, but that's my projection, that's where he'll play. Okay, next from Washington, I have Kenny Clark, defensive tackle from UCLA. Basically, they're really old on the defensive line, and he will bolster that unit for them. Okay, next, Laquan Treadwell. The first wide receiver off the board will go to Houston. It's not a deep class, but I feel like he's a great player, a great fit for them. He's 6'2" and not overly fast. He's more like a Hines Ward possession receiver. He has good hands, and he'll high point the ball. And he'll be paired with DeAndre Hopkins, who we know was a freak for them last year. Little bit of a do everything wide receiver. So he'd pair really nicely for Houston, with him and Houston. Next, I have another wide receiver off the board, and William Fuller. He's out of Notre Dame, a lot faster than Treadwell. He ran a 4.3. He's a great leaper as well. At 6 foot, he can score from anywhere on the field. He's great run after catch, just not as polished a route runner or as good a hands guy as a Treadwell is. He could go ahead of Treadwell based on his speed, but in my opinion, he should go behind him. Next, we have the Bengals, who were 12-4, obviously a good team, and a need wide receiver because they lost both Marvin Jones and Sanu. That was their 2 and 3 wide receiver on the depth chart. Fortunately for them, Josh Doxson is still available from TCU. Also relatively fast at 4.5 in his 40-yard dash, and he's 6'2" with a 41-inch vertical, which is insane. So they're fortunate. There were 3 not elite wide receivers there, but good enough that they're worthy of a first-round pick. That he could go in and be a number 2 or 3 wide receiver for him. He was also, I mean, he was the best receiver on his team in college, so it's a great pick. All right, next I have my Steelers, who, not being biased, I think you'll agree with me, without the injuries to Bell and Williams last year, along with Ben being banged up, I think would have beaten the Broncos last year. We had them beat with our third string running back, second and third string line, as far as Pouncey being out at the center position. And we had, I think we lost by 8, but it was a closer game than that. We had the ball down like 2, driving down the field when our third string running back fumbled the ball. And I mean, that's going to happen sometimes. He did well for us. Leonard Fournette, some of you may not know, but he did well for us until the fumble throughout the playoffs. So I'm not going to bash the kid. Anyway, we got beat, so I'm not going to be able to say much about that. I've got us taking Darren Lee from Ohio State. The Buckeyes scout Ohio State really well. We take somebody from Ohio State, it seems, every year. All the way back to, you got Cameron Hayward, you got Santonio Holmes, and on and on. So I think we're going to go Darren Lee here to help us at outside linebacker. Jarvis Jones, I haven't liked what I've seen from him. Hasn't really lived up to expectations. And James Harrison is maybe in his last year with us. So Darren Lee would fill in right away.
Before you go on about the Steelers,
All right.
Antonio Bryant, right? Wide receiver.
Um,
Brown.
Brown's our best receiver, but he was hurt in the playoffs. You're thinking of dude who got busted for weed.
Yeah. But Brown, I think he was in the Day of Doom tournament. The new Doom game coming out.
I think so, and he was Dancing with the Stars. He's in Dancing with the Stars too.
Paired up with iJustine, and I think they won that championship, which is nice going into the gaming section.
And tell them if, in case they're not into gaming, who iJustine is. She's
iJustine is a female that's real amazing at games. I don't know much, but I know of her, like how well she is and everything, and she pretty much carried that team. But pretty much getting with the Day of Doom, pretty much they remade the first Doom, I think, to come out, and it comes out May 13th, but the beta's out right now, which is fun because they incorporated new aspects into the Doom game where you could look up and down and run and sprint, which you could do in the main one, but it was pretty much a first-person shooter where you had to go down a hallway, turn, and do all that. So they've changed that, and you got a multiplayer. But pretty much with that, congrats to him for winning that with iJustine.
I think it's cool he's branching out. He does a little bit of everything. Like I said, he was on Dancing with the Stars now, and Hines Ward won that a few seasons ago. Anyway, going on to that, Bryant is the receiver that I didn't want to mention his name because he pisses me off. But anyway, he's suspended for the year at least. I think Sammy Coates should fill in nicely for him while he's out. Really big loss, though, because Bryant had, I believe, 8 touchdowns last year, even after missing 4 games with his drug suspension last year. So hopefully he gets the help he needs and he's back on the field after this season. We're still deep in wide receiver, though. All right, Seattle. I've got them taking Jonathan Bullard. We're back in defensive end, defensive tackle. Like I said, it's a deep position. He's from Florida, and they lost Brandon Mebane in free agency, so I think he'll be a good fit there for a team who doesn't need much because they're very deep at every position. Next, I have Green Bay, also deep, other than tight end. They need tight end, but it's a terrible tight end draft this year. I think they're going to just go best player available and take a shot. It's a shot in the dark, but I have him taking William Jackson from Houston. Look him up if you don't know him. He's a defensive back, 6 feet tall, ran a 4.37 40. So he's got the talent. He's just not polished. So some people have him out of the first round. I would actually like the Steelers to pick him as well. I don't think they'll take a shot on him. But if they took him, I'd be happy because we need defensive backs. He had, I believe, 3 interceptions for Houston last year, 2 or 3 that he returned for touchdowns with his speed and returnability. So anyway, I have him going to Green Bay. Kansas City, I have taken Chris Jones, also defensive tackle, defensive end for Mississippi State. He's a really big guy. I believe he's 6'5", 6'6", like 315. But you'd be surprised how fast he is. He played basketball as well when he was younger, so he's kind of kept in shape that way. Quicker feet than you usually see from a dude that's pushing 320. So he would be a good pick for Kansas City, who also has, they already have a good defensive team, but he would be a good depth pick for them. New England picks 29th, but it's forfeited from Deflategate. They've tried to get that back, but I don't believe Goodell is going to allow it. Moving on to 30, Arizona. I've got taking Keanu Neal from Florida here. He's our first safety off the board. Again, they're deep, but they had issues at safety in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Check out the tape from the championship game where they got torched. That was safety play, mainly. They have some talent at safety, but just not polished, not trustworthy right now. So I think he'd be a good pick for them. Next I have Carolina, possibly the best team, give or take. I mean, you could put New England in there as well. They had injuries. The Steelers, Green Bay, Seattle. But they're one of the best teams. Could have gone undefeated. They didn't lose till like week 14. I think Atlanta beat them. I believe Atlanta beat them in a close game. Or they could have gone undefeated. But I think they really need help on the offensive line. Sorry, I've got a frog. Offensive line. Because Cam gets hit for a mobile dude. He got sacked, 6 or 7 times in that game?
Yeah.
Anyway, in the playoffs, he got sacked like crazy. As mobile as he is, that's not acceptable. Because if he gets hurt, you could have another RG3 situation where he blows a knee and you can't afford it. That has basically sidetracked RG3's career. After winning Rookie of the Year, he's just not even been able to play. And I'd hate to see that happen to Cam. All right, last but not least, we have Denver, who lost Manning to retirement. I've got him going Paxton Lynch from Memphis. He's actually my favorite quarterback in this draft, which you might laugh because he's not exactly pro style or anything. But he's 6'7", so you're going to see over the line. He's mobile enough that he can get away from pressure. Just a talented guy. I mean, he's not going to throw a ball 60 yards down the field right on point. Like, he doesn't have a missile launcher for an arm, but he's a smart kid. He played for Memphis, which hurt him because they're not an Ohio State. They're not a Notre Dame. They're not a premier program.
Yeah.
But I just feel like he's a good player at 6'7", 250. He's not a Jamarcus Russell who's going to go bust on us. I really don't think he will. I think he'll be smart and stay in shape and do a really good job. He shouldn't play right away, but Denver has Mark Sanchez that has experience. He's not going to do a whole lot for you, but he was in 2 AFC championship games with the Jets. They had good defense as well, which is why Denver won the Super Bowl in the first place.
Yeah.
They have the best defense. Arguably, you could mention Seattle, but I don't think Seattle's defense is as good as they were. I think Denver is going to bring that back next year with linebacker play, getting to the quarterback, and defensive backs as well, to where Sanchez isn't going to have to score 30 points a game. It'll be like when he was with the Jets and succeeding. He'll be able to rely on his defense. So that's what I have there. My first round is complete. I may change it and just give you players once I add the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round, because that's just too much. That'd be a 4 or 5 hour draft if I went into it more in depth. And Josh is going to try his hand at it as well.
Yep.
Probably just give you the players,
Just give the players.
so we're not taking up a lot of time.
Yep. Pretty much now, we got the NBA playoffs coming up.
Golden State got beat, as we mentioned, by
Timberwolves.
so they have to win out.
9th loss.
So they have to win the last 3.
Yeah, they got to win the last 3, which the last 3 games are Memphis Grizzlies tonight,
And they play the
Spurs
again.
tomorrow, and then Memphis in the middle of next week. So those 3 games, they got to win all 3. But there's talk that Steve Kerr is trying to decide whether to go for the record or sit his guys for mental and physical well-being before playoffs on the 16th.
Honestly, to jump in real quick, I think that'd be a mistake to sit anybody. They won the title last year. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for any of these guys, and I don't want them to get the record. I don't like Golden State. I don't like Curry's attitude. But the kid is a freak. He's a stud. He's a smart basketball player. He knows what he's doing. Plays the right way. He doesn't always take the best of shots, but he makes them. Draymond Green is the glue that holds them together, in my opinion. Klay Thompson, it speaks for himself. He's a shooter. He's a very good player as well. You can go down the list, but it could be my most hated team, which is them right now. You don't often get to win 70 games. You don't get a chance to break arguably the greatest team of all time's record. Go for it. If you didn't win the title last year, I understand. Okay. What if Curry gets hurt? We don't win a title, and the fans go off. I think the fans are going to understand. They want you to go for that record. The players, no doubt, want to go for the record. Let them do it. Because, honestly, I want to see it. If it's going to be broken, I want to see it broken eventually so I can say I saw it. I was young when the Bulls did it and didn't watch a lot of the games. Said it'd be kind of neat, and it's history. And then you can tell them about the Spurs, how their home record was.
38-0.
Yeah.
So they broke pretty much the 95-96.
They
Bulls.
broke that home record for the Bulls. That's unbelievable. We're seeing that in the same conference in the same year. So,
which is amazing. And like I said, the playoffs will start 16th of this month. So we'll be
Cavs.
Getting into that. Plus, NHL playoffs?
They're soon. I know the Penguins, who I root for, have clinched.
Next week?
And a couple other teams clinched. Yeah,
there's 11 of the 16 teams have clinched. So pretty much there's a couple more days or whatever to get into. So once that starts up, we'll be covering as best as we can.
And the NBA, I think the Wizards were just eliminated last night.
Yeah.
I believe. I think they were eliminated from
contention. You got Indiana and Chicago, but
Chicago's
3 games.
Yeah,
3 games behind Indiana.
They would need the Pacers to lose out and somebody else to lose 2 of 3. It's not likely. No. And they'd have to win their last 3 or 4.
So. Then in the West, the only 2 that haven't clinched are Dallas and Utah, which the only one that has a chance of getting in there is Houston because they're only 1 game behind Utah. So.
And who's still in play in the East now? Who's still fighting for that 8th spot?
The 8th spot is Indiana and Chicago.
But Indiana, so
Indiana has it.
There's no other. I thought there was one other team that.
No, Washington.
That was
like you said,
one.
he
okay,
got
that's the last one.
Kicked out.
Okay, they were eliminated.
But pretty much, we got 3 teams that we're looking at. 1 in the East, 2 in the West.
I'd like to see Houston get in. They've underachieved, but they just have so much talent that they're fun to watch. I want to see. I really think that'd be an interesting 1-8 matchup with Golden State and Houston if they could get in. Who is it right now, Josh, in the 8th spot? Who's holding the 8th spot right now?
Utah.
Utah has that right now. Yeah, I think Houston really would have more of a chance to upset Golden State if it were to happen, which I don't think it will. I just want to see that matchup play out just for the fun of it.
See, the Rockets have the Lakers, the Timberwolves, and then the Kings, their last 3 games. So it's possible for them to win out, but they'd have to have Utah lose 1 or 2 games.
Excuse me. Who's Utah played in the season?
Let's look that up. Utah,
just get that real quick so they know, and then
Utah has Denver, Dallas, and Lakers.
Okay.
So Utah has Dallas, which is right in front of them. So that game could be a deciding factor whether
they'll beat the Lakers
Rockets,
unless they are just playing for pride at that point.
Well, in Denver's out of the playoffs, but they're still playing pretty much like something to win for.
Yeah, they played decently.
So you have those 2 games, Denver, Dallas, that could either help or hurt Utah with being in the 8th spot against Golden State. So pretty much that's it. And with what's coming up, we'll do the best we can to cover the playoffs, the NBA playoffs, the NHL Stanley Cup. We'll get more into...
And every Saturday, I just thought of this again. Every Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to post a question that has to do with sports in some way or fashion that I would like to try to get more feedback on. I know we don't have a lot of viewership yet. It's still early in the game. we just started this up, and with work we just can't follow up as much as I'd like. But I'm going to start posting questions. Appreciate any of you that have. If you have a good topic of discussion,
send it our way.
Feel free to post it. Just go ahead and post it in the group. If you have Twitter, follow Y City Sports or myself or Josh. Post it to us, or we'll post it. Just really want to get more conversation going. Mostly because it's fun. I like to talk with you guys. Some of you, I have your number. We text about sports, but I'd like to kind of get more people involved in the discussion. It's more fun that way, just to get that going. So
that's pretty much it. So
we'll try also to get more of a gaming aspect to our channel going. Some of you play Xbox One, PS4, computer even. Let us know what your gamer tag is if you play online, and we can try to even stream some of our gameplay on Twitch if you have games that we do. GTA 5 we both have, so if you have that for Xbox One, hit us up.
Pretty much another thing with that, if like you are also like seeing games that are like down the road coming out, just post it and see. Like we could even talk about that.
We may even have games that you don't know we have, or we don't know you have, and we can
pretty much just let us know what you have, what your thoughts are, and we'll keep it moving, and other people will keep it moving as well. So that's pretty much it for today. So
thanks, guys. Have a good weekend and stay warm.
Stay warm. Yeah.
Say.